Welcome friends to another r/am I the jerk here video. Would you be the jerk for kicking your boyfriend's daughter out of your house after they just moved in? We'll find out, but first a story from throwaway546677. Am I the jerk for leaving the hospital and going home after my husband called me ugly while waking up from his surgery? I'm female 25, my husband male 32, had undergone surgery days ago. The surgery required anesthesia, and his family and I waited till the evening for him to wake up. He was in and out for a while, but then started regaining consciousness gradually. The nurse gave me a signal to go in with his mom. I stood by his bed and he was speaking to his mom. He then turned his head towards me, made a face, and asked who I was. I told him my name, but couldn't recognize me. I don't know if this was deliberate. I told him I was his wife, and he frowned and said, No, you can't be my wife. You're ugly. This made me upset and I was completely floored at what he said. I didn't know what to say, I just stared at him while he looked away. I quietly stepped out and told his family and mom that I was going home. His mom kept shouting after me saying I was overreacting and that I shouldn't just go home and leave her son alone when he was just waking up. I got home, cried my eyes out, and then called my dad. He calmed me down but then said I should stop being too sensitive and that my husband didn't know what he was saying and so he didn't mean it and couldn't control it. I argued that he must think I'm ugly since I heard that people under the effect of anesthesia are like drunk people and tell what's really on their mind. Dad laughed at this and said that still, walking out like that probably wasn't ideal and it must have upset my in-law's ex, my mother-in-law. I admit being too cautious and insecure about my look. I don't see myself pretty, so I don't expect him to lie and say I am, but calling me ugly? This I couldn't let go. I think OP's not the jerk because I understand it could be a heartbreaking and honestly stressful thing to hear, but you also do have to really understand that this dude was on some hard-hitting stuff, and frankly, for some people it might be a truth serum, but for some people, they may think they're the new leader of a new colony on Jupiter. Do you guys think that OP should take these comments personally? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Our next story is from Dad of a Forever Boy. Am I the jerk for throwing a gender reveal party for my son instead in the same week as my sister's baby shower? I'm a 47-year-old single dad of a 19-year-old young man who was born as a female. We lost his mom to COVID in the first wave. He came out to us as trans 3 years ago and completed his transition just a few weeks ago. My sister's pregnant with her 5th child and is doing a baby shower/gender reveal next weekend. The whole family is invited. Her baby's due at the end of July. I'm throwing my son a gender reveal party this Thursday. He always wanted one ever since he came out, and now that he's officially a man, we're finally throwing one. The whole family's invited, though some won't come because they don't approve. We sent out invitations 2 months ago. My sister told me she'll see about coming because she's heavily pregnant, and I put her down for a maybe. Yesterday she called me fuming. Said that a lot of the family members are actually coming to my son's party, and since this is the first family thing since COVID, this will be the first big party, and then her baby shower will just be an afterthought. I told her I'm not moving my son's party because everyone will still attend her baby shower on the weekend. She said I'm faking a gender reveal party, and I told her that's ridiculous. She said it won't even be a proper gender reveal because he's not a baby. Then I just said that she can either come or not, her choice, but I'm not moving the date. Am I the jerk? Honestly, I think regardless of what kind of party it is, if you plan it 2 months in advance, especially before any other plans pop up in the family, you're totally justified to continue on the course, especially considering it's happening in the next week or so. I don't see how OP could be the jerk here. Our next story is from throwRA4T33. Am I the jerk for refusing to let my husband's mom nap in my room? My husband's mom moved in with us a week ago. The minute we were informed she was going to move in, temporary till her house gets renovated, we've emptied a room specifically for her. It has everything. A bed with a frame, curtains, mounted TV, wardrobe, etc. She was thrilled with it and loved it a lot. One day I came home and found her in my bedroom sleeping in mine and my husband's bed. I was confused, but she told me she took a nap on the bed and lost track of time. Since then, she started talking about how she loved the nap there and started hinting wanting to take naps in the bedroom from now on. I kept ignoring her comments till my husband sat me down and told me that his mom really liked and got used to napping in our bedroom. and we should just let her have her daily afternoon nap in the room. I said absolutely not, and we started debating. I told him his mom is being ridiculous because she has a whole room upstairs where she should nap. He got upset and said that I was making his mom feel uncomfortable and unwelcome with this attitude. I said no and refused to negotiate. He called me selfish and mean for saying no and preventing his mom from feeling comfortable at his house. But I reminded him that I pay full mortgage for the house while he blows money over gadgets and consoles. He accused me of bringing old disagreements in this current conflict to use against him. I said no again and that he should stop pushing because I need the room for when I get home feeling exhausted from working on my feet from 6 a.m. He's refusing to speak to me till I agree and let his mom have her nap in there. Am I the jerk for choosing this hill to die on, as he says? Am I being difficult? I think OP's not the jerk. If they laid down and they accidentally fell asleep there one time, that's one thing, but I'm not gonna lie, I kinda would be a little grossed out from sharing my bed repeatedly with my mother-in-law. I feel like I personally can have slight germophobic tendencies. So I'm picturing, this mother-in-law bringing in whatever, dead skin, bacteria, germs, dirt, whatever, every single day onto your bed, onto your pillows, on your covers. When you got your own bed, use your own bed. And who wants to get home, wanting to relax, and finding out you can't because your bed's being rented out? And what about the knowledge that, you've probably hooked up in that bed? I think there's just too many factors that go into allowing yourself to be comfortable with this idea. Our next story is from DopeMaster865. Am I the jerk? Am I an unsupportive husband? My wife wants to drag me and the kids on a 2-hour drive, each direction, so she can go and meet up with some high school friends. Neither our kids nor I were invited to join them, so we're just along for the ride and then the fun of finding something to do in a town that has nothing but box stores for the 4 hours that she's hanging out. Keep in mind it'll roughly be 95 to 100 degrees outside as well, or else I take the kids to a park. I am all for her hanging out with her old friends, but I offer to watch the kids at home instead. This way I can get the kids together with other friends and take them swimming or to the beach, etc. They have way more options and my wife can take all the time she wants with her friends. I'm being told that I'm a selfish jerk and not supporting her. The only difference is I can do something more fun with the kids and we aren't stuck in a car for 4 hours when we have nothing to do there anyway. In my mind, that's being supportive. I'm happy to spend time with the kids and to let her have fun with her friends for as long as she wants. The only thing I'd rather not do is get dragged on multiple hours of car rides, plus the task of finding something to do in a boring town while I can stay home and have more to do here with the kids. Can someone tell me if I'm being selfish and unsupportive for not being told exactly what and how to do with the time that she won't be around anyway? Thanks, a totally unsupportive jerk. So frankly, I think OP's definitely not the jerk, and I think the wife is projecting pretty darn hard here. It's pretty impressive for the wife to claim that the husband is the one being selfish, when OP wants their husband and kids to come with them in a car and wait around and figure out something else to do while she's busy for 4 hours? I agree wholeheartedly with OP. They're being really supportive by saying, go, I'll watch the kids, everything will be locked down here, you go have fun with your friends. That's supportive. She's the one being selfish here. By the way, if you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below so you never miss any of my daily videos. Our next story is from objective number 8088. Am I the jerk for telling my son about why his mom and I aren't together? My son just turned 10. His mom and I broke up when he was 2. We never married. The deal was that for us, instant physical attraction carried the relationship entirely. We basically went from her saying, "You're really cute," and me saying, "Gosh darn, you're pretty," to having a kid very quickly. We tried to flesh out the relationship after he was born. It caused a lot of arguments and we figured out that we were just too different of people. We share custody and the only times I'm ever really around her for what I'd call an extended period of time is when we're doing something for Christmas or his birthday, things like that. The way I parent, I'm very honest with him. I don't see much of a reason to give him a bunch of word salad answers to questions. Last week, he asked what happened between his mom and I. I told him that his mom is one of those people where if she's not choreographing and directing everything around her, she's not happy. I told him I just felt like I was losing myself the more I was around her. I thought it was a pretty tame answer. I didn't rant, rave, cuss up a storm, or anything. I also assumed he'd keep it between us. Last night, I get a phone call from my ex telling me that, in the heat of an argument with her about cleaning up his room, he'd let it fly about what I said. She said I should have passed on the question, then told her he asked it so that we could be on the same page. My point to her was, I don't believe I said anything toxic or outlandish. She had me talk to him, and I told him to apologize to her and pick up his room. Am I the jerk? It is a good policy to be honest, but just from the setup OP had in this story to what they told their own kid, I don't know if OP's even being honest writing this story for us. And I will say, being honest but in a more ambiguous way, especially for a 10-year-old kid, might be more applicable. It could have very easily just said, it just didn't work out between us, sometimes it works that way. I don't think that in any way would have been lying. And doesn't just randomly dump on your ex for no justifiable reason after all these years. This next story is from Independent Safe 1780. Am I the jerk for kicking out my boyfriend's 19-year-old daughter? My boyfriend of 3 years moved into my home 3 weeks ago after his lease went up and he was unable to renew with the price hike they expected. His rent was $1,600 for a 2-bedroom, and upon signing a new lease, they said it was now $2,400. I have a 3-bedroom home and one son, 11. Both his room and my room have an attached bathroom. The guest room does not. We lived here for 5 years and I bought it last year. My boyfriend has a 19-year-old daughter named Jess, who visits him on the weekends and lives at home with her mother. Literally never had any issues with her up until my boyfriend moved in. When he moved in, Jess started becoming this witchy snob who had demand after demand that she fully expected me to meet. Like she wanted me to kick my son out of his room so she could have the room with an attached bathroom, stating that a boy didn't need a bathroom as much as a girl did. When I said absolutely not, she got extremely rude and condescending whenever she was in my home. She also tried parenting my son on more than one occasion, telling him what he can and cannot watch on the TV, what he can and cannot snack on, etc. There's been times when he's tried talking to us and Jess will butt in and say something about how kids are so freaking annoying. If I speak up to her, she says, "I don't believe I was talking to you," or rolls her eyes at me. Bold for someone who doesn't pay any rent or food costs to be staying in my home. I told her father last week that either he gets a handle on his adult kid or she was getting booted to the curb. He immediately starts telling me that I need to give her time, because this is an adjustment for her and that apparently she's having a hard time at her mom's house due to them arguing all the time. I told him that it wasn't my problem and that in my house, me and my son were not going to be treated like crap because she can't control her emotions and wants to take her resentment out on us. He said he would talk to her. His talk did nothing at all. In fact, she confronted me about it and said, "I don't know what game you're playing here, but respect is earned, not given, and I will not be granting you respect until you prove to me you deserve it." She then walks to the living room where my son was watching TV and takes the remote from him and tells him to move. At this point, I go in and immediately tell her to get out of my house. She tells me she isn't going anywhere because her dad lives here. So I end up calling her uncle, who's a police officer, and have her escorted from my house after she collected all her belongings. My boyfriend said that I crossed the line, so I told him he can leave too. He currently isn't speaking to me, locked away in my bedroom. Am I the jerk? I think OP's definitely not the jerk here, and good on OP for having a spine when this boyfriend cannot control their own kid. And let's be real, she's 19 years old. She's too old to give the benefit of the doubt and tolerate any kind of that behavior from, and she has no legal right whatsoever to stay in your house. If the boyfriend can't get a grip on their kid, and clearly they don't want to, I'm with OP, both of them can get kicked to the curb. Don't waste your time on that nonsense. Not a surprise they're arguing with their mom too. Our next story is from ThrowRA Wrong 1B. Am I the jerk for telling my brother-in-law's girlfriend she's boring because all she talks about is her job? My 34-year-old female, brother-in-law's girlfriend Faye, 32-year-old female, recently got a new job. She got her master's in 2020 and never stops talking about it. My husband, 36, Jack, has noticed the same thing, and he said his brother Luke, 32, talks about it too. It gets on our nerves, but we tolerate it because we know how excited Faye is about her degree and now this new job, which she also won't stop talking about because, as she says, she wouldn't have gotten it if she didn't pursue her master's, since it's a requirement. We had them over for dinner last night with my parents and my father and mother-in-law. Once again, Faye brings up her new job. It doesn't start for another couple of weeks. She works in education, so her contracts are based on the school calendar, and she was talking about all the things she gets to do now that she really wanted to do. She mentioned it being a life goal. I asked her what was next. She asked what I meant. I asked her about things like kids or marriage, since they've been together for 3 years now. She said she doesn't want to rush into marriage or kids until she had her goals in order, but marriage was something she and Luke had been seriously discussing. I asked when she'd have time for kids or marriage with her career goals. She said she'd make time. I said kids are a lot of work. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I told her that when I was pregnant, it wasn't feasible financially or logically to continue working as an STNA, so I quit at 26. Faye said that she doesn't want kids that she can't provide for, and she likes relying on herself because so many stay-at-home moms are financially trapped when they stop working and can't leave if the marriage falls apart for whatever reason. I'll be honest, I was offended by that. I told her that not all of us are trapped. She agreed but said you never know and you should depend on yourself, even in marriage. Luke was nodding and agreeing. I said it would also give you more to talk about other than your job. Faye asked if I had a problem with her talking about her job. I said no, but honestly, it's the only thing she seems to have that's mildly interesting. Everyone else talks about kids, home life, vacations, family, hobbies, but all you talk about is your degree, education, and this new job of yours. And I told her it was kind of boring. Faye said, then I won't bore you any further, and asked my in-laws how installing wood floors was going. We all moved on past the conversation until later that night. After Luke and Faye left, my mother-in-law told me I was rude. I told her I was telling the truth because we are all tired of hearing about it. Jack agreed, but mother-in-law said while that was true, it's still an accomplishment no one, looking me up and down, in this family had done yet, and I seemed jealous. I said I wasn't jealous, but offended by some of the things she said. Mother-in-law told me I was only offended because Faye was right. Jack said she was right, but it was obvious she was directing those comments at me in a judgmental way, and my parents agree with me. Am I the jerk? Frankly, I think OP is pretty clearly the jerk. I think OP is overly judgmental, and when OP instilled the topic of discussion of kids, marriage, Faye's wishes, desires, and goals with marriage with kids, they were directly inquiring about the exact thing Faye said. It wasn't some weird prompted targeted thing. OP literally asked them about basically prioritizing your job versus prioritizing having kids. Well, Faye clearly feels a certain way, and they shared their ideological thinking as to why they wouldn't stop and have kids sometime soon. OP's not only really judgmental and just a jerk, but also feels the need to be villainized somehow. Our next story is from Sad Poets. Am I the jerk for smiling while my mother-in-law scolded my husband for poking my belly and saying it was like dough? I gave birth to our first child 3 weeks ago, and my body hasn't snapped back yet. I definitely feel insecure about it, to the point where I won't even change in front of my husband anymore. Yesterday I was laying down on him, and my top rode up so you could see my belly slightly. He stroked it and then poked it and made a comment about how my belly was like dough. I know my reaction was irrational, but I burst into tears. My in-laws were there, and my mother-in-law was furious with my husband, and she started scolding him for not being careful with his words. My husband tried to defend himself, but my mother-in-law kept telling him off. I started smiling, and my husband got upset with me for being happy he was getting into trouble. Am I the jerk? I'm sorry, is OP's husband freshly 19? They're acting like a total kid here. I'm definitely not one and the same with OP's husband, but if I had a partner that had just given birth, I wouldn't be poking their stomach and saying it feels like dough. Just be supportive. Why say dumb stuff like that? The husband was definitely mean, and I think OP's feelings are more than justified. I'm sorry, but these people like this husband and the stay-at-home mom champion in the last story really frustrate me with their senseless perspectives. This next story is from Complex Cup 7367. Am I the jerk for defending my dad's girlfriend for wearing a bikini to my fiancé's bridal shower? My dad's been dating Tiffany for 1.5 years. She's honestly really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I I recently got engaged to my girlfriend of 3 years, Melissa, and we're currently wedding planning. Her mom and maid of honor recently threw her a bridal shower. As an olive branch, Tiffany and my mom were invited. For some background, Melissa does struggle with insecurities and self-esteem. She's also very into things being picture perfect, which sometimes results in anxiety. She also hates how the women in my family dress. She totally gets it isn't her business and she would never say anything, but she's confided to me that she hates it. For the bridal shower, most of the women wore sundresses. Tiffany wore something which looked like to me a roughly crop top and a matching skirt. I thought it looked fine. She did mention she was leaving early because she had plans. During the shower, Melissa realized that what Tiffany was wearing was actually a bikini because the skirt was pretty see-through and she could make out the bottoms. She asked her but tried to laugh it off, and Tiffany admitted it was a bikini because she was going out on my dad's boat after and wouldn't have time to change. My future mother-in-law asked Tiffany if she found it a bit weird. Tiffany said no and she thought it passed as a crop top. Melissa and her bridesmaids went off and talked about it, and Melissa decided that she was offended, but declined her mom's offer to kick Tiffany out. When Tiffany was leaving, she said goodbye, and my fiancé said, "I hope you had fun, and I hope you found the attention you were looking for." I heard this through my mom, sister, and then Melissa. At this point, I was sick of hearing about it, and I was annoyed because my mom was trying to make it into a much bigger issue and act like I shouldn't marry Melissa over it, which I promptly shut down. By the time I talked to Melissa, she was heated and calling Tiffany an attention whore and a show-off. She asked if my mom had said anything, because I guess my mom was rolling her eyes at her at the shower. I told her I talked to my mom and told her to shut up. Melissa then asked me if I hated Tiffany. I said that I don't hate her, and then I said, to be honest, I think her outfit was fine. It just looked like a crop top, and if that ruined the day for Melissa, that is something Melissa needs to work on. That upset Melissa, and she feels that I was brushing her feelings aside. She said I should talk to my dad, and I told her I wasn't going to, and that's embarrassing. She stormed off and is now refusing to talk about it. I think we need a little bit more context as to where the venue was and because everybody else pretty much wearing sundresses, and then they show up with a probably pretty small cut crop top. It's a bridal shower, not a bachelorette party, so showing up with a really skimpy looking outfit, or at least very minimal clothing, whether or not it was for attention or not, seems just a bit out of place for a bridal shower. No matter what justification OP, who I think is the jerk, tries to make, the fact of the matter is, she wore a bikini to a bridal shower. Our next story is from supposed gold digger. Am I the jerk for refusing to be a bridesmaid in my sister's wedding? I, 28-year-old female, come from a big extended family, including me and my sister, 23-year-old female. There's 24 female cousins and 17 male cousins. Half of the cousins are already married. When the first one ever asked me to be a bridesmaid, I declined. When I attend a wedding, I want to have fun, eat food, and dance. In exchange, I'll get you a gift. I do not want to spend my energy, time, and money on your big day. And when I get married, I won't have a bridal party, nor will I expect a bachelorette party. Well, all of the cousins understood. There were no hard feelings, and to be honest, with that many cousins, it wasn't even an issue. Now my younger sister's getting married. She asked me to be a bridesmaid, and I declined. And I did it very gently. I told her sorry, but with working full-time, being in the final stages of preparing my thesis and teaching some summer classes, that I would not make a good bridesmaid. Also, my sister is a total bridezilla. The dresses she's looking at for her party are $450. She expects a weekend bachelorette in Vegas with all the bells and whistles, and wants everyone to attend dance classes to learn this elaborate dance to surprise her with. I do not have the energy for all that ish. Now, she said I'm not invited to her wedding. If I'm not willing to put forth the effort to make her day perfect, then I don't deserve to be there. Honestly, I don't care. But my mom and some aunts are calling me a jerk. So, am I the jerk? I'm not gonna lie, and this might make me sound like a jerk, but I've not gone to some weddings for much less than this. $450, getting out to Vegas for a surprise party, and learning some flash mob dance thing. I'm sorry, but that is asking just too much. Especially if not doing all that makes me deserve to not be there. This next story is from Sprawling Jaguar. Am I the jerk for excluding my father's affair child for my late dad's birthday/anniversary party? The party was 2 months ago, but this is still coming up, so I just want to get some external opinions. In February, it came out that my father had a child out of marriage. Let's call him Ollie, and Ollie is 24. It was a shock since no one expected it, but we took the tests and he is dad's son. He's an okay guy, but I grew up with 3 siblings and they're the only siblings I'll ever know. So we don't have much of a relationship, but I acknowledge him and we get along when we see each other. June 18th is my father's birthday, and what would have been my parents' 50th anniversary. My mother had been really looking forward to this milestone while he was alive, so we planned this small party to celebrate what would have been 50 years of marriage and his birthday. Just a nice lunch with my aunt, uncles, and grandmother, as well as a visit to his grave. My sister told Ollie about the plan, and he asked to be involved since we're celebrating Dad's birthday. The problem is that my mother is still struggling to accept him and the fact that Dad cheated. She's in therapy for this. And since this was a dual birthday and wedding anniversary, inviting the kid he had out of marriage seems like adding salt to the wound. So I said no, he couldn't be involved in the party. However, we can make arrangements to go to the grave as siblings with him afterwards, and then have dinner together on me, since he is Dad's son in the end. My sister told me Ollie was offended and mad at me for treating him like an outsider, and tried to come gate crash, but my husband saw him outside and just asked him not to. I only found out about this afterwards. Him and my 2 sisters ended up going to the grave alone after everything ended and had dinner without me. I understand where he's coming from, but I also believe I made a fair compromise under the circumstances. Am I the jerk? I personally think OP is not the jerk here because I feel like what OP was doing was merely looking out for the best interest of everybody involved here. I think the offer OP made to Ollie was more than generous, and it sucks that it affects Ollie in the way it does, but I don't think OP's a jerk for it. And our final story of the day is from Brother Issue Throwaway. Am I the jerk for leaving my brother on my porch? My wife grew up rough. She had a very hard time. Due to personal issues, her parents weren't in the picture. She was left to fend for herself. She was forced to do a lot of things against her will. Literally live in the back of gas stations or stores at the age of 16. She's had a lot of things that she's had to get out of habit from, like going days without eating, days without showering, severe insomnia, and jumpy at any loud sounds. She's working on those though. I'm a rather wealthy person, upper middle class. My wife is the cutest but is so darn sad. She gets very excited at grocery stores because she's able to get any treat or food she wants. She gets super excited at things other people would dread. My brother is very spoiled. My parents struggled to parent him. They gave in at any command he said. He gets off the hook for everything. They couldn't deal with him, so they sent him with me. I set rules and consequences. He has to go donate anything he doesn't use or doesn't fit. He had to get a job, etc. This was fine. He was doing better. Lately, my wife's been doing a lot of what I explained before. Jumpy, forgetting to eat, waking up at odd hours. This was weird. I came home from work and overheard my brother and my wife. My wife was asleep on the couch. My brother goes over and purposely bangs on the wall, making siren noises. I've informed my brother what he can't do regarding my wife. My wife jumped up, looking scared. I told my brother, who was surprised, to go to his room, which he did. This wasn't the first time he's did this, according to my wife. She said he's shaken her in her sleep, stole whatever food she was eating. She said he's been throwing away all her soaps and washes too. I was baffled. 1, I didn't know about this. 2, my brother, he's 18. He's old enough to know better. I talked to my brother and he said that he was just messing with her and that this was probably good so she can get over whatever weird fears she has. He proceeded to say that the way she had it wasn't that bad and she practically got money for free. So I took his stuff, put it in big plastic bags and set them on the driveway and told him to get out. He was taken aback and asked if I was just going to leave him out there in the heat. It was 76. He said just because she was broke doesn't mean I have to treat him like a hobo. I took him outside and locked the door. He was banging on the door for a few. I called my parents and told them he can't stay here. They're about a 3 hours drive away. I even gave the kid water. When my parents got there, they were pissed. They said that he was rude, but I was ridiculous for such a harsh punishment, and he could have been kidnapped or passed out. He's 200 pounds, seated in a gated community. I don't feel bad. I think this taught him to stop taking things for granted, but they don't think so. Well, he's definitely not going to stop taking things for granted when mommy and daddy come to put the diaper back up on him. I'm sorry, did you terrorize his wife and he got mad at you and kicked you out? I'm sorry, come back here. Mommy and daddy got you. OP is clearly not the jerk. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another Am I the Jerk Here story that was way crazier than anyone in this video, click on that left video. Or if you missed my latest video, check out the one on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.